Assalamu alaikum friends, I'm Mantasha Javed from grade 10 and today my topic is about the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. The subtopics we'll be dealing in this video are the idea of Satyagraha, the Rowlatt Act and why non-cooperation. So firstly, let's talk about the First World War. It was fought in 1914 between Allied powers and Central powers. Allied powers include Russia, Britain, America, and Japan, and Central powers include Austro-Hungarian, Germany, and Ottoman Empire. At that time, India was a colony of Britishers, so India was also affected by the Britain's participation in First World War. So what were the impacts of the First World War on India? Firstly, there was a huge increase in defense expenditure of Britain, and it was financed by increasing custom duties and introducing income tax in India. Prices of goods doubled between 1913 to 1918. Forced recruitment in the army was introduced. 1918 to 19 and 1920 to 21 crops failed in many parts of India. Acute shortage of food was faced by the people and many people died from influenza epidemic. According to 1921 census, approximately 13 million people died due to famine and epidemic. So there at this stage a new leader appeared with his new ideas. He suggested a new mode of struggle. It was Gandhiji, and he introduced the idea of Satyagraha in India. In January 1915, Gandhiji returned to India from South Africa with the idea of Satyagraha. Satyagraha means fight without using any weapons by following the path of truth and peaceful manner. And in South Africa in 1906, Gandhiji organized his first Satyagraha movement against racism system. Gandhiji started the first Satyagraha movement in India in 1917 in Champaran, Bihar. It was in the favor of the indigo farmers, and Gandhiji inspired peasants to struggle against oppressive plantation system. The another movement which he started in India was again in 1917 in Kheda district of Gujarat, and their peasants were affected by crop failure, and due to this they were unable to pay the revenue. And the third movement which he started in India was in 1918 in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. There in Ahmedabad the workers were demanding more wages, so he got successful in all the three Satyagraha movements which he started in India. It aggrieved Britishers, and in return they introduced the Rowlatt Act. This act was passed hurriedly through the Imperial Legislative Council, which was the British Parliament of India at that time, and it gave enormous power to British government. And the British government can repress political activists and allow detention of political prisoners without trial for two years. It was also called as Black Law. Gandhiji launched his Satyagraha to protest against the Rowlatt Act, and this Satyagraha movement was called as Rowlatt Satyagraha. It was the first nationwide Satyagraha. He started this movement on 6 April with a hartal. He started this with rallies, strikes, and boycotts, and British were scared that communication lines would be distracted, and British decided to clamp down political leaders. Firstly, they attacked or clamped down the local leaders from Amritsar, and they were picked up. Those leaders that were picked up from Amritsar were Saifuddin Kichlu and Maulana Ansari. On 10 April, the police in Amritsar fired upon a peaceful procession which aggrieved people, and in return the people attacked on banks, post offices and railway stations, and then the martial law was imposed and the General Dyer took the command. And then comes the Juliana Bhag massacre. On 13 April in Juliana Bhag, Amritsar, most of the people came to attend the annual Baisakhi fair, and some were doing protest against Rowlatt Act, and General Dyer entered in with his military and blocked all the exit points and opened fire on the crowd, and he killed hundreds of people there. And this incident is called as the Juliana Bhag massacre. So, as the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, people gathered on roads, and they started strikes, they started clashes with people and attacks on buildings. Government responded with brutal repression. They were forced to rub their nose, to crawl, forced to salute, flogged, and blades were bombed. So, On looking the violence, Gandhi ji called off the movement, and Gandhi ji now wanted a big movement, which means the integration of Hindu and Muslims. So here we will see that the Hindus wanted Swaraj, which means independence, and they fought against the Britishers. The Muslims also fought against the Britishers. Like, they were when the First World War took place, it was Britain won and Turkey got a defeat, and their leader, which was called as Caliphate, or in Urdu it's known as Khalifa. Muslims considered him as the spiritual head of Islamic world, and the Britishers, there was a news that the Britain is going to introduce a harsh treaty on the Khalifa of Muslims, and for this Indian Muslims fought against Britishers. So both the Hindus and the Muslims fought against Britishers. Their motive was the same. They were fighting against the same community. So Gandhi saw this as an opportunity to unite Hindu and Muslims. On March 1919 in Bombay, there was a Khilafat committee formed by young Muslim leaders Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali, which are known as the Ali brothers. Gandhiji, they discussed with Gandhiji about the possibility of mass action, and Gandhiji approved this. And in the September session of 1922, which is also known as Congress session in Calcutta, Gandhiji convinced other leaders to start a new movement in support of Khilafat as well as Swaraj, which is known as the non-cooperation movement. So why non-cooperation movement? In 1909, Gandhiji mentioned in his book was namely as Hindu Swaraj. He mentioned that British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians and had survived only because of this cooperation. If Indians refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come. Gandhiji proposed the movement should be in this manner: surrender of titles that the government awarded, boycott British services, then in case the British government used repression, a full civil disobedience campaign would be launched. Through the summer of 1920, Mahatma Gandhi and Shaukat Ali toured extensively, mobilizing popular support for the movement. Many among government feared that the movement might lead to popular violence. Then finally, at the Congress session at Nagpur in December 1920, a compromise was worked out and the non-cooperation program was adopted. And this was all about my topic. Thank you very much.